Hey guys, I'm Darrell Cartwright, an attorney in Birmingham, Alabama. And today I wanted to talk to you a little bit about a proposed bill in the Alabama legislature. And normally I don't like to spend a lot of time talking about proposed legislation because you never know if it's going to pass, and there are changes and amendments that are proposed to it, and you never know exactly what it's going to be until it's done and passed. And that's kind of the case here as well. There's a specific amendment to Senate Bill 275 that has provoked some concern among notaries throughout the Alabama. Of the Alabama Notaries for Alabama Hangout Facebook group, which is an outstanding group of people and run by an outstanding leader, and highly recommend it. There's a lot of good camaraderie there and education that's shared among the members, and different things for notaries throughout the state. And the topic of this Senate Bill 275 and the amendment came up today. And so that I can get you taking a look at something other than my ugly face, let me share my screen with you and pull up the actual bill itself so you can take a look at what I'm talking about. Senate Bill 275 authorizes the use of remote notarizations for acknowledgments, and it ratifies actions that are taken before this time. Now, I want to take a minute here and give a little bit of history for it, and there's a reason that I want to do this. When the pandemic hit in March and April of last year, Governor Kay Ivey of Alabama issued some emergency health proclamations, and then issued supplemental emergency health proclamations. And the fourth and fifth supplemental emergency health proclamations permitted the use of video notarizations. And this was a very good idea. It's a very good thing because it allowed notaries throughout the state of Alabama, provided they follow certain procedures, to perform notarizations remotely. You didn't have to bring people in contact with each other in the midst of this pandemic. And that was a good idea and a good thing to do, with one possible exception. And that is that she may not have had the power to do that. I'm a member of a group of attorneys. We talk about different things, legislation, and some other issues that relate to laws in the state of Alabama. And our concern was that she was taking over the job of the legislature. Basically, there are constitutional provisions in the Code of Alabama enabling legislation that provides that our lawmakers are, our legislature. And the legislature is the proper party to enact legislation like this. So, great idea if she had the power to do that. Well, some legislatures have figured that out, and they have this proposed bill 275, which not only provides for a process and a procedure for video notarizations to occur in the future, but it also ratifies and validates all prior video notarizations that were done pursuant to that supplemental emergency proclamations that Governor Ivey issued. Good idea. The legislature is saying, hey, we know it was a good idea. It was probably our part, our role to do that. You did it, but we think it was a good idea, so we're going to say it's all good and it's all fine. So hopefully this will pass, at least in some form. I wanted to mention just a couple of things related to the bill, and then I'm going to get to the amendment that's causing a lot of concern. The bill itself provides that a notary can perform video notarizations if they do certain things. One, of course, is they have to have an audio video communication that allows them to simultaneously see the other party, and that you record it for a minimum and keep it for a minimum of 7 years, not 5 years as the old law provided, but 7 years by the notary public. In addition, you're going to see a number of different things that are required. For example, the identity must be verified with at least 2 valid forms of government issued ID, including one with a photo, or unless you, of course, know them already. And the process that the notary verifies it must be done through and the video communication must contain 6 different requirements, and they're listed there: the date and time, description of the documents, attestation by the notary public of being physically located in the state. Hi, my name is Darrell Cartwright. I'm notarizing a will today. It is March 16th, 2021. It's 11:30 a.m. And the person signing it is John Doe. I have his driver's license and social security card in my presence, or I know him already. Here's a picture of the item, etc. And it must be followed that exact procedure. If you do all of those things, then the proper date for the notarization is that date that it is witnessed, even if they mail it into you later. When you receive it, you don't notarize it the date you receive it. You notarize, or you place your stamp and seal on it, and physical signature the date that you actually witnessed it. Now, here's something that's important. G says any action taken before July 1, 2021. So I'm guessing they're proposing this bill to take effect around that time or a little before, will be ratified and confirmed. That's the part that really needs to take place. Subparagraph H, make sure you know this: remote notarization may not be used to notarize an absentee ballot application or an absentee ballot affidavit. I'm not going to get into the politics of all this, but that's a big deal right now. So make sure you know, if someone asks you to notarize their absentee ballot and you are trying to do it through the video notarization process, this procedure is not going to allow it. Now, all that's fine and good. That was the original bill. And then an amendment has been proposed. I'll pull up the amendment. And the amendment basically says, right at the very end, we need to place this subsection. And it is beginning on line 14, this part that I just highlighted: a notary who intentionally or fraudulently violates the provision of this section. In other words, if you intentionally or fraudulently violate the video notarization statute, shall be assessed a civil penalty up to $50,000. Ouch. The Secretary of State shall consider the damages and, or costs associated incurred by a signatory due to the fraudulent or wrongful activity when they are assessing the amount of that civil penalty. Now, that's the part that's of concern. What is intentional? What is fraudulent? Is it really going to be $50,000 penalty? And my answer is, I don't know. Nobody knows, because this is brand new. We don't know until we know. All I can do is give you some guesses. First of all, intentional conduct generally requires some knowing violation. Hey, can you notarize this document for me? I'm in Anniston and you're in Huntsville. Can you do it through FaceTime or through Zoom or whatever? Yeah, I can. This is what I need. Well, I've only got my driver's license. Is that good enough? Well, okay. You know, you're supposed to have 2 forms of ID. I don't know you, but that's, you know, I guess the driver's license is good enough. No, it's not. You know better. The statute says you've got to have 2 different forms of ID, or you got to know them. That's intentional conduct in this case that could give rise to this civil penalty. Fraudulent kind of goes hand in hand with intentional conduct. I'm not sure I can separately define that. We kind of know it when we see it. Someone asks you to video notarize their absentee ballot. I'll mail it into you later. Let's just do it all by video. You know better. Statute prohibits that. Don't do it. Now, as to the amount, my guess is, and I don't know this, please don't rely on this. My guess is that they're going to look at what it's going to cost the person to fix the problem that was created by the erroneous video notarization, by the improper video notarization. Well, did they have to hire a lawyer? Did they pay lawyer fees? Did they have to redo something? Did they have to get a new loan? Did the interest rate go up on that new loan? If that's the case, that $50,000 number could be hit pretty quickly depending upon the number of years and the amount of the interest rate that went up. But if not for something like that, maybe the civil penalty is only a few $1,000s. I don't know. I don't know what it's going to be. None of us do. None of us do until this actually occurs and is put into place. I would urge you, you know, I do think this is a good bill. I think the requirements are pretty restrictive, but they probably should be. You know, the 2 forms of ID, keeping it for 7 years, there's reciting all those things, making sure those 6 factors are in there. Those are very specific requirements, and I urge you to take your time, print out the law when it becomes a law, and use it as a checklist when you go over all of these things. If you do all of that, I think it's unlikely that you would be subjected to this civil penalty for anything that you do. It doesn't apply to you making a mistake. It doesn't apply to negligent conduct. It doesn't apply in the case where you made an error, unless it rises to the level of intentional conduct or fraudulent conduct. I can't define all those things. As I said, you kind of know it when you see it. But in any event, I hope this has been of some help, and you guys stay safe out there, be careful, and read this law and make sure that you follow it. I'll see you next time. See you on the board.